Hello, coin collectors out there and fans of the year 1941. I thought this would make an interesting video if I took the different coins all from the same year and then I discussed the coins and showed you some details about them all for the same exact year. And I picked 1941 because I thought that'd be a real interesting year. The wheat pennies were still being produced, Mercury Dimes, which had 90% silver, and Washington quarters, which also still had 90% silver. Unfortunately, the Jefferson Nickel, nothing special there. The silver in the Jefferson Nickel ended in 1937, so this one we have for 1941. It's just a copper nickel clad, which is what the dimes and the quarters eventually faded into. But for 1941, the dimes and the quarter were still silver. So let's get right into it. I'm going to take off these coins right here and then focus on the penny itself. So this is a wheatback penny, as you can see here. This particular one has got some great definition to it. You can still see a lot of great design in the details in the wheat ears running along the sides. If you flip it over, you can see that it's from the Philadelphia Mint. So a little bit about the wheat coin itself. This design was made from 1909 to 1958. Its metal content is bronze. Its weight 3.1 grams, diameter 19 millimeters. So let's get into the mintage for 1941. It's pretty incredible the range that this design was used. It was used for quite a long time. So in 1941 at the Philadelphia Mint, there were 887 million of these produced. There were also 128 million produced at the Denver Mint and 92 million produced at the old San Francisco Mint. So let's move on to, I'll show you one more look at the reverse of this right here. So there's the reverse. It's your standard wheat penny that if you're into coin collecting, you've probably seen plenty of these in your time. All right, on to the nickel. So there's our man Thomas Jefferson, TJ. He's facing the left, and this design for the Jefferson nickel was started being made in 1938. Before that was the Buffalo nickel, which did have silver in it. And this design was made up until 2003 when they switched it around a little. Its metal content, unfortunately, is not silver. It's copper nickel, which really decreases the value of the coin. However, the older coins, such as this 1941, can still be worth a little bit more than face value if they're in great condition. So there are 203 million of these produced at the Philadelphia Mint. There were 53 million produced at the Denver Mint, and there were 43 million produced at the San Francisco Mint. So what you want to see if your coin is in great condition, and if it's a 1941, it needs to be in great condition to really be worth much more than face value, is the primary spot to look is these steps right here. If your coin is what they call full steps, that means it will be worth a lot more than face value because those steps are raised above the coin. So that's the first thing that will fade away. Also, interestingly, you should look right there for the mint mark. That's where you'll see the D or the S mint mark. Next is the old Mercury Dime. Now you can see on its side, this one doesn't have any copper showing through. That's because it's 90% silver. So this design for the Mercury Dime was made from 1916 to 1945. And then from 46 to 64 was the regular Roosevelt dime, but that still had silver in it. So the silver was made for both the Mercury dime up until 45 and then the Roosevelt dime up until 64. Now they called it the Mercury dime. That wasn't its original name, but they nicknamed it the Mercury dime, and that's because the hat of this person right here resembled the Greek god of Mercury, who was the Roman religion for a traveler and transportation god, and he wore a similar hat to this one right here. Now, they actually called, some people think they called the planet Mercury that because it travels so quickly in front of us. So it's like the traveler kind of god. So there's the Mercury Dime right here. We can flip it over. And this one right here, it's got some kind of orange gunk on it. And it's also not in great shape, but it's going to be worth more than face value just because of its metal content alone. So if you look and see, there are usually like columns and stripes running down this right here, but you can't really see it on this coin because it's too worn out. But that's what you're going to want to look for to determine if your coin is going to be worth a lot or just a little. Also, you can see on mine there's some fading around the edges. If yours doesn't have that, obviously it will be worth a little more money than mine here. So there's the 1941 Mercury Dime for you. And that symbol right there, just one more point, is the symbol of the engraver. It's not the mint mark. All right. And next, the 41 quarter. So this right here is the 1941 quarter. As you would imagine, it's worth more than face value because of its silver content. The total weight of the coin is 6.25 grams, and it is 90% silver. So that's going to drive up its value. If you're into collecting silver, or if you're what they call a silver bug, you might want to try and hang on to these quarters because they do have silver in them, and that drives up the value of the coin. So in 1941, there were 16 million produced at the Denver Mint and 16 million produced at the San Francisco Mint, as well as 79 million produced at the Philadelphia Mint. So Philadelphia Mint, as per usual with most coins, is the most common year produced. We can flip it over right here. Now, if yours, you'd look right there at the very bottom, right in that little space right there for the mint mark. You can see that there isn't any on this quarter, which indicates that it's from the Philadelphia Mint. Flip it over on its edge. You can see, or you see that there's no copper showing through. So let me zoom out here and conclude this video. Hopefully you enjoyed these coins. 1941 was a great year for the U.S. Mint making coins. 1941 was also the year that the U.S. was dragged into World War II as a result of the Pearl Harbor attack. So a lot going on in 1941. Hopefully everyone enjoyed this video. If you're into coin collecting, please do check out some of the other videos on the channel and consider subscribing. I appreciate the support and have a great day, everyone.